Today we're diving into an explicit, niche horror film called High Tension. The story begins with an old, run-down truck parked in the wilderness, swaying with some rather inappropriate noises coming from inside. Once the noise finally dies down, the driver casually tosses a black, furry object out the window of the vehicle. As the camera zooms in, we realize it's a woman's severed head. Meanwhile, our main character Marie and her best friend Alex re-driving to Alex's place, planning to spend a few days there during their summer break. Alex's home is on a rural farm, with no neighbors for hundreds of meters around. When they arrive, Alex's parents come out to greet them with their young son. After a quick hello, Marie is shown to the guest room. She carefully examined the room, curious about the unfamiliar environment. Soon enough, Alex's family heads to bed. The two friends chat for a bit, bringing up Alex's ex-boyfriend who can't seem to let go and keeps trying to reconcile. Marie advises Alex to move on, calling the guy a jerk, but Alex isn't having it, and instead asks Marie when she's going to find herself a boyfriend. Marie isn't keen on discussing this topic, so she heads outside for a quick smoke break to clear her mind. After a while, Marie notices Alex showering on the second floor with the curtains wide open, her silhouette clearly visible. Feeling a bit awkward, Marie retreats to her room. She puts on her headphones to listen to music before bed, but suddenly feels frisky and begins pleasuring herself. At this moment, she heard frantic barking from downstairs, so she took off his headphones and went to the window to check the situation. Someone rings the doorbell, jolting Alex's father awake. The doorbell keeps ringing incessantly, and with growing impatience he heads downstairs to open the door. Marie ran to the second floor balcony and stuck out her head to see who the visitor was. She saw a middle-aged uncle standing outside the door, and as soon as the door opened, the uncle raised a weapon and chopped at Alex's father. After a scream of agony, the father collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, the dog bravely charged forward, but was taken down the next second. Marie was terrified. She stopped in her tracks, listening closely with her ears on alert, unsure if she should go downstairs. Hearing no struggle from below, Marie realized the intruder was overwhelmingly strong and didn't dare go down recklessly. Meanwhile, Alex's father was still alive, struggling to crawl towards the stairs. The intruder kicked him, wedging his head between two stair posts to trap it, then moved a cabinet and violently shoved it toward his head. Alex's mother heard a noise, so she opened the door and peeked out to investigate. Just then, the younger brother opened the door and asked about the sound. The mother hurriedly told the boy to go back to his room, and the boy obediently did so. Then, the mother quietly tiptoed out. As she reached the stairs, she was shocked to find her husband's murdered body. Looking up, she saw the killer standing right in front of her. She was completely stunned, watching helplessly as the criminal approached her. Marie returned to the guest room. She wanted to escape through the window, but it was too high off the ground, so she had to give up. She scanned the room and discovered a landline phone. However, this machine was not connected to the phone line. She saw a wire on the wall leading to the back of the closet and thought it was a phone line. She wanted to move the closet, but it was too heavy. As soon as she moved it a little, she heard a noise from downstairs. The criminal was coming up. She quickly put the closet back in place, gathered her things, made the bed, and cleaned the bathroom to make it look like no one was there. After a while, the criminal opened the guest room door and saw that the room was clean and tidy, and the radiator was cold. Feeling that everything was fine, he continued walking to the bathroom in the guest room and touched the sink, but he wasn't finished. The perpetrator touched the faucet with his finger and found moisture residue, which immediately aroused his suspicion. He yanked open the shower curtain, but there was no one behind it. He walked to the bed, lifted one corner of the mattress to check underneath, but found no one. Where could Marie be hiding? Actually, she was under the bed, but the intruder didn't see her from the spot he checked. Why didn't the criminal bend down to look under the bed? Too much trouble, apparently. After confirming the guest room was empty, he closed the door and left. That's how Marie narrowly escaped danger. After the bandit walked away, she continued moving the cabinet, finally exposing the outlet behind it. However, this was not a telephone outlet, and Marie was very disappointed. Seeing that it was quiet outside, she went downstairs to the master bedroom to look for a phone. As a result, there was some movement, and she quickly hid in the closet. It turned out to be Alex's mother, who had been stabbed multiple times and crawled over with difficulty. Through the gap, Marie saw her pick up the phone and silently pray that she would successfully call the police. However, before she could dial, the attacker appeared behind her and slit her throat with a knife. This scene terrified Marie, and she desperately covered her mouth, managing not to make a sound. After the thug left, Marie picked up the phone and found it was already broken. She heard the criminal walk out the door and then went to Alex's room. Marie discovered that Alex was still alive, just tied up. Just then, Alex's younger brother's voice rang out from the fields outside. The attacker was chasing the boy, and gunshots rang out shortly after, leaving Alex in great distress. Since she couldn't untie the restraints, Marie could only calm Alex by saying, "I will get you out. Don't let the criminals know about my presence." After speaking, she ran out, and Marie went to the warehouse. She selected a knife from the toolbox. At this moment, Alex had been caught by the thug and taken into the truck compartment. Then the criminal returned to the room and cut out the head part of Alex's photo, intending to keep it as a trophy. Marie took the opportunity to sneak into the carriage, raised her knife, and prepared to ambush the criminal as he entered. Unexpectedly, the criminal did not get into the car, but just closed the car door. Just like that, Marie and Alex were trapped inside the car, while the criminal drove them away. After what seemed like forever, the criminals arrived at a gas station. While he was refueling, Marie summoned her courage and slipped out of the car, then darted into the convenience store. "Please call the police," she pleaded. Marie asked the clerk to call the police, but the clerk was confused and asked her what happened. Before the store clerk could ask clearly, Marie saw the criminal coming towards the convenience store and quickly hid. The next second, the criminal entered the store. He asked the clerk, "Are you working alone tonight?" Seeing the threatening demeanor, the clerk knew Marie was hiding from this man. He was a bit flustered and forced a smile, saying, "Yeah, just me." He noticed blood on the man's hands and realized the situation was dire, but he couldn't call the police in front of him, so he had to pretend to be calm, intending to wait until the man left to report it. But when the clerk turned to grab an item from the shelf, the criminal swung an axe directly at him, right in front of the security camera. Seeing the clerk collapse, Marie silently toured the restrooms. After hesitating for a moment, she chose to hide in the men's bathroom. Soon, the criminal also entered the bathroom. He searched the women's bathroom and didn't see anyone. Then he went to the men's bathroom. Marie heard footsteps getting closer, and she was so scared she almost wet herself. Luckily, the thug only came in to take a leak. He had no idea Marie was hiding there. Just like that, Marie escaped death once again. When she emerged, the guy had already driven off. She called the police to report the perpetrator committing murder and kidnapping. The operator asked, "Which gas station are you at? What's the license plate number?" Marie couldn't answer any of it, and finally slammed the phone down in frustration. Marie took matters into her own hands. She took the salesman's car keys and ran after the criminal. Before long, the thug spotted a car tailing him and veered onto a narrow forest path. Marie also followed. After driving for a while, the criminal somehow got around to behind her. Just like that, Marie went from hunter to hunted. Marie was driving a powerful car, but the visibility ahead was so poor that Marie couldn't go fast. Every now and then, the criminal's beat-up car would crash into the back of hers. Marie couldn't stand it anymore and floored it, which quickly ended in disaster. The whole car went airborne. After crashing, Marie scrambled out of the car and ducked into a nearby greenhouse complex. There are wooden stakes and wire fencing here. Marie came up with the brilliant idea of wrapping wire around a wooden stake to make a spiked club. She held a weapon ready to fight back. Suddenly, she saw a light ahead. It was the criminal searching for her with a flashlight. She quietly approached the light source, preparing to ambush the criminal. Unexpectedly, when she got closer, she discovered that the criminal was not there. It turned out to be a trap. The flashlight was hung up as bait. While Marie was still stunned, the criminal used plastic wrap to cover her head from behind. Marie quickly lost consciousness and fell to the ground motionless. The criminal pulled the plastic sheet off, put a knife to Marie's neck, and began to molest her. As Marie slowly regained consciousness, she pretended to cooperate and took a rock and hit the criminal on the head. Marie took the opportunity, quickly grabbed the spiked stick lying nearby and swung it at the criminal's head with all her might. Soon after, the criminal died, but that wasn't the end. The director threw in a major twist. What happened? Let's keep watching. Marie returns to the car and unties Alex, but Alex is terrified of her. Marie said, "I killed the criminal." "You're safe," Marie says softly. But Alex didn't listen and told Marie not to come near, saying Marie is a pervert. Meanwhile, police arrive at the gas station where surveillance footage reveals a shocking truth. Marie was the one who murdered the clerk. It turns out that Marie has a personality disorder. The scary man is actually a separate personality from her. Alex slashed Marie's face with a knife and ran away. A car happened to pass by, and Alex got in, telling the driver to drive quickly. The driver, startled by her panicked appearance, immediately complied. However, at the crucial moment, the car just wouldn't start. The psychopath catches up, chainsaw in hand. He jumped on the hood of the car and stabbed the chainsaw blade into the driver. Blood splattered everywhere, and the driver died instantly. Alex struggles out of the car, too weak to stand. Her legs were weak, and she could only drag her feet along the ground. The psychopath approached her with a chainsaw and asked if she loved him. Alex had no choice but to say yes. As he bends down, his form shifts back to Marie. She kisses Alex tenderly. "No one will ever come between us," she whispers. As Marie is distracted, focus, Alex suddenly stabs her with an iron chisel that Alex had hidden. The scene then cuts to Marie being taken to a mental hospital. That's where the movie ends. I think the sudden change in regards to multiple personality disorder doesn't really make sense after careful consideration. Apart from this flaw, the rest of it still feels quite oppressive.